Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robin Lavasser. They say our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Yes. I'll tell you what, I am known as an accommodator, as a really helpful person, as the nice girl, as somebody who likes to find a way to say yes. And I think there can be a lot of value in that. And there's also, just like anything else, a cost. And so what is the cost of saying yes? Every time we say yes, we really are writing a check. Time, energy, money, reputation. Question is, do you know the cost before you spend it? We're talking about the hidden expense, if you will, behind every single yes that we give, even if there's an outcome that's positive and beautiful from that yes as well. So what I learned about myself was that saying yes felt easy, generous, ambitious, accommodating, nice, feels good, it feels warm, it feels fuzzy, right? Now, obviously context matters and all of that, but saying yes is something that can be a beautiful thing. Unfiltered yes. And I'll give you the filter for it in a minute. Very easily, and has for me, created resentment, burnout, missed priorities, compromising of standards, frustration. I think resentment and burnout are probably two of the biggest, but also, missing priorities that are important to you, but I committed to this, right? And that's a little bit of the I have to versus I get to, which is something that I constantly take myself to when I'm trying to filter my yeses, right? I want to look at it and say, would I feel like I get to do that or I have to do that? Would I use it as an excuse or as great energy? I had to do this is an excuse. I got to do that is great energy, right? It's putting that in that place. And so when promise listeners, stories, practical filters, and a challenge protect their yes. Let me say that. Promise listeners, meaning I'm listening to my own promises. It allows me to apply practical filters and a challenge of myself to protect my own yes. That's what I'm saying there, right? So when you think about it, when we say yes, maybe one day we said, yes, I'll attend that event, but wait a minute. I know that my team member is out today. I know that that team member that is out for sure is going to leave me drowning in some leads and some pipeline things, but I didn't look at the calendar. I instantly said yes to attend the event. And now all of a sudden I'm in compromise to not make my child's soccer game or be home for dinner tonight or work long hours or let a referral partner down, which is creating anxiety, letting a client down who I promised to have numbers out to or didn't return their lead call. And then when I do, they say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear from you. I called somebody else, right? There's a lot of things in business that when we quickly go to a yes, we don't often think about, hey, what am I protecting in my own work hours, in my selling hours? And so when you assess things, so how do we assess things? I'll tell you a story real quick. I had a gal that worked for us and she was a yes girl and probably one of the worst yes employees that I've ever seen. And at the time I wasn't even in leadership. I was a fellow employee, if you will. I was in sales. She was in operations, but she would constantly say, yes, I've got it. I'll do it. I'll take care of it. Me. I'll do it. Yes. Everything that was asked was always on her and really nice, really hardworking. All of the things were there. The components were there, but she would take all of this on with a yes. And then the day of would come and all of a sudden she would complain. It's too much. I have too much to do. I have so much on my plate. I'm doing all of this and I do my normal work. I had to go to the store. I had to pick up the ice. I came back. Now I'm here to clean up. I'll be here till 9:00 tonight. But what she was doing was saying yes all of the time instead of I'll clean up if somebody else will set up. Hey, I'm willing to say yes to this, but I need somebody to cover some things. And so it's not that she needed to necessarily say no, but yes with a boundary is so incredibly powerful. And she came to me one day and she sat down with me and she said, Robin, help me. I feel so frustrated. And she starts pointing the finger at every single person that ever asks her to do anything. And I looked her dead in the eye. And for the sake of, being ambiguous, I'll call her Susie. I looked her in the eye and I said, Susie, I have to tell you, I don't feel sorry for you. She's a little taken back. And I said, I feel like I can help you and give you some advice, but I don't feel sorry for you. And what I mean by that is this is nobody's fault but your own. You've said yes to everything, and now you are victim of your own suffering, right? Of your own choices, of your own yeses. And nobody expects you to say, don't worry worry about it. I got it. Give that to me. I'm a yes there. Yes, 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 until all of a sudden you find yourself piled up with all the things you said yes to and feeling like not only is the world not helping you, but that you are letting people down and the frustration builds and that resentment builds. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen that in other people and I've been that person. So saying yes all of the time always comes with a consequence to what did I just say no to as a result? What did I just say no to? And it's funny, I learned this trick in my marriage where I could only say I'm sorry, if you will, to my husband a couple times a week. Because for a while there, I felt like I was having to say I'm sorry 7 days a week. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I'm on the phone. Sorry I didn't make it home. Sorry, 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 sorry. Which was me saying yes to all these other things and then telling him, I wish I would have said no to that. I'm sorry that cut into time with you. That's not extreme ownership. Extreme ownership was me stopping and going, I should have said no to some of this. Hey, I can't call tonight, but I can call you first thing in the morning if that works for you. How's 8 a.m. sound? And then I don't have to look at my husband as well and say, hey, sorry, I was on the phone and I also didn't talk to you all night and you're already in bed and we didn't get to see each other, right? And then I feel bad about it, but I'm also justifying it because I said yes over here. But here's what I would do. I would say, they needed me. They asked me, but the truth is my power is I could have said yes or no with a yes. Right? Very, very big deal there. Saying yes to more than one event. Have you ever been that person that's like, I overcommitted, I've overextended myself. And so instead of just telling everybody the truth that says, actually, we're invited to multiple things and we committed to this one. Instead, we want to say, I'll try to make all of them. And I've done that before to where I end up making none of them because my sense of overwhelm has me just going, you know what? I'm not going to engage at all. And what did I miss out on because I was not willing to give somebody a no or an I'm sorry or a rain check, I'll see you soon, but we're going to go to this one and make the most of that and have the best time at that. And it's an I get to versus an I have, right? Like very big difference there. So when you're a leader, I love this statement. Somebody taught me that entitlement starts day one. Now that doesn't mean you lead with an iron fist and you're like, no, no, no on everything that's going on. But I'll tell you what, saying yes to everything everybody asks, it undermines sometimes fairness. It can erode culture. It literally lessens standards in general. And by human nature, if you give people an inch, they'll often take a mile, not because they're bad people, but because they're unclear on where the boundary will ever. And then you start to feel taken advantage of, frustrated, taken for granted, right? Like all of these things. And so it's okay to say, hey, I'm going to pause for a minute and I'm going to give you this piece. I just taught this the other day with a real estate class and somebody was telling me about their overwhelm. And I said, use DSC and then use the 3 components of value to assess your yes. And I'm going to give you that formula for a minute. 1, DSC. Do you have the desire? Do you have the skill set? Do you have the capacity? In the personal world, that's an easier place, but sometimes without even having the desire and or the skill set, you wanted to say yes because someone asked you to be the treasurer of a board. You might not even like the money piece. You really don't have the time and you're already saying yes to it because they really need somebody. And now you've committed to a job that you're not even good at. You don't have the skill set potentially. You didn't really have the capacity and maybe you didn't even have the desire, or you did, but you didn't have the capacity. So what I tell people is if you're lacking even one of those 3 components, you need to pause and see at what sacrifice you are accepting something that maybe you shouldn't accept. And you saying no sometimes makes space for somebody else to jump in who maybe can fill all 3, desire, skill set, and capacity. What a win. But if you immediately say yes, you all of a sudden forewent them looking for anybody else that would have been a better fit. How selfish is that, right? So there's things there, desire, skill set, capacity. The other is the value prop. And here's the thing. I say it all the time. Value comes in the form of 3 things: time, joy, money. You could say a lot of things. Time in terms of, do I have the time? Is this worth my time? Will I enjoy my time, right? That's that component there. Joy. Is this going to be fun? Is this going to bring peace to me? Is this going to be, and it's not that it's all about us. Sometimes you do things you don't want to do. What other value is there, right? I might say the value is I'm going to attend a funeral of somebody I didn't really know, but the value for me is showing somebody that I love that did know them support. It doesn't bring me necessarily joy to be at a funeral, but it does bring me peace to know I supported my friend. So that's worth the time investment that I'm showing, and it has nothing to do with money, right? Money is the other component of value. So time, joy, money. Money piece, you go, is this going to make me money? Is this going to save me money? Is this worth what I'm spending money on, right? Like however that is. Now, all three value props don't have to be there in your yes, but you do have to understand what you're possibly saying no to in those value props. If I wanted to volunteer in all of my kids' classrooms and I wanted to be on the board for a whole lot of things, that's okay. But I can't also say that I want to have a really flourishing career working full time in an industry that really gives you back what you give it. And that doesn't mean 48 hours or 50 hours or 60 hours is needed. In sales, it's often a disciplined, solid 40 hours and then go do other things. But if the two things were at the exact same time, meaning I was volunteering in the classroom at the same time I'm supposed to be having lunch with agents, I'm saying no to something. It's okay for me to choose the classroom, and it's also okay for me to choose the realtor. But a yes with a no, or a yes with an assessment of what the no is on the other side, is what will literally give you free living. And you'll feel lighter, you'll feel more in control, you'll feel less resentful, you'll feel more joyful. And when you use desire, skill set, capacity, when you say the I get to do that versus that feels like an obligated yes, I can promise you a lightweight, heartfelt rain check or no is so much better for you and the person on the other side than an obligated yes. So make sure that you weigh out your yeses and your nos so that you can move forward faster in all aspects of life and free yourself emotionally. If this was helpful, I hope you share it. Thanks for joining me on this episode of The Wild.